When you first load up Keyscape, it'll look something like this and you're prompted to load a patch. But before you do that, it's useful to go to settings and choose from the velocity scaling over here. Choose from the drop-down menu a keyboard that'll match the controller that you're using. And there's a pretty wide selection. I'm using a Novation Impulse, and I'm choosing this one as a starting point. So getting back to the browsing, it's all done on the left here, and we can hide or show this browser with this little arrow that's next to the utility menu. So we get a nice reduced view like that, or we can enable it. Now we can limit our browsing to just the factory patches, which is all you'll have when you're starting out, or user patches, and I have none right now. Otherwise that would highlight, or all, which of course is a combination of the both. So for now, let's just stick with factory. There are three panes here. We have the category pane here, so I can choose which of these keyboard types I want to browse. And then we can choose the specific model. So for example, let's say I go to electric pianos. I can now specify that I want just those ones, or maybe just the Rhodes Custom E models. And then finally, we have the results at the bottom. Now we also have a search field. So let me go back to all on top here, and I'll clear this as well by going back to all. And we can type in, for example, Rhodes. And now that'll return to me a subset of all the patches that have Rhodes in the name over there. And I can, of course, clear it like that and just hit the magnifying glass to bring up the text window again. There's another search for clavinet. Now, after that, we have a footer at the bottom, and this deals with the results that are displayed here. We have a shuffle button, which is actually more useful than it seems. Rather than just viewing things alphabetically, we can mix it up and shuffle them. So now, since I'm in all and all over here, we're looking at every patch available in Keyscape. So I can just shuffle it at random like that. But of course, it'll work within the categories. So let's say I'm in electric pianos and maybe in duo combinations. I can shuffle, and it's still restricted to that search result, but shuffling the results that are displayed. So let's go back to all. Now to load a patch, of course, we just single click on it and we can see the load bar there. And we can scroll up and down the search results here using these stepper buttons. And of course, they'll load each time we move. Now we can also use the up-down arrow keys on our keyboard like that. And if you want to disable that and not have your QWERTY keyboard trigger the changing of the patches, we can go to the system menu here, and browser up-down arrow keys, we can turn it off there so that it'll function as it would in your DAW and not affect Keyscape. Now next to that, we have a refresh button, which will refresh the browser if you've made any changes in your patches. And we have an audition button, which auditions middle C of whatever sound is loaded in. And once you've got a sound in, it's useful to look at the info tab. You can get some performance tips on how to quickly modify the sound easily, and a bit of a history on the instrument. Now we also have a sort menu here, which has a couple of different functions that are useful. Now we have featured, and what that does is it places the featured sounds at the top of the list. And now these featured sounds are updated with each Spectrasonics patch update, and it works in conjunction with the categories column. So for example, if I go to featured now and we look at the top, we're going to have some results shown here by which are the featured sounds based on this electric piano category. For example, if I go to here and go to featured, which we still are at, we'll see the featured sounds for that category. And of course, all will show the featured sounds for everything. Now we can also sort alphabetically. And there we go with the lowest letters at the top, and reverse alphabetical, where we get the letters higher in the alphabet at the top. And finally, we have ratings, which is a great kind of favorites system. The idea is that we rate sounds with stars, with 1 to 5, simply by clicking on them. For example, I gave that one 3 stars or 4. We can click backwards to add or remove stars. And to get rid of the rating completely, just hold the Command key down on Mac, and that's Control on Windows. So let me give this one a rating. I think I have one other one that I've rated before. So what that means is that the next time we select the ratings, the top rated patches will show up higher in the patch list. So for example, let me just go back to featured, and then I'll just shuffle them, and I'll go back to ratings. And if we look at the top of the list, we'll see that one that I just rated as 4 stars. And there's one I rated before at 5 stars. So it's a great way of quickly recalling your favorite patches. So those are some ideas on how you can get the most out of browsing in Keyscape, and we'll continue with more in the next video.